Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things 33 a common sense lens. And you know, boys and girls, it's one of them situations where we kind of knew Ironheart was going to be a disastrous dumpster fire right from the get-go, right? Basically, essentially the black female version of Tony Stark that's supposed to be the replacement for him now that he has passed away. And it's one of them situations where this is something that they tried in the comics as part of the Marvel Now initiative, and it was canceled after like 6 issues. It just didn't sell. It didn't work very well at all. It didn't work in the comics, and well, color us shocked there, boys and girls. History doesn't just repeat itself, it also rhymes, because now it is failing miserably on the television shows and all of the ratings out there on Disney Plus. It is failing to chart in any way, shape, or form. And you know what? It's one of those situations where on our Thursday night show, on our Is It Good show, we are watching and reviewing it to give it a fair shot so that we can actually go out there and fairly assess the show. And honestly, there's a couple of bright spots, but for the most part, it's really stupid. It's a dumb premise to begin with, and the majority of the characters are villains or doing bad things. So color us shocking there when fans are crying out for proper heroes and actually people that know the difference between good and bad and won't cross certain moral lines to achieve their goals. Color us shocked there. Add in Marvel burnout, and yeah, Ironheart ratings are in the gutter. Absent for Luminate viewership charts. Yes, boys and girls, one of the industry standards, one of the ones behind some of the biggest Hollywood outlets out there like Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, and so many others. Yes, the access media, the people who do their best to shill and promote these shows, their own rating system itself, it is completely and totally absent from, and that makes it one of the worst and one of the few Marvel shows that has never done that. And that's with a 3-episode premiere, boys and girls. It's absolutely insane. So in contrary to popular belief out there that apparently, according to a lot of the absolute spirit of the age possessed politically correct rags out there, well, if you don't watch Ironheart, if you don't like it, you're a racist. Well, apparently it's not just people not liking it, but the majority of people are not watching it either. So does that mean the majority of the Marvel fan base are a bunch of ists? Maybe. Most likely not. It's most likely that just nobody is interested in this stupid character from the comics that nobody bought and read. Not to mention the Rotten Tomato score, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are back at it. We are grinding. We are growing. We just crossed 2K. We're sailing our way towards 2,100. I think we're at like 2039, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Did you give Ironheart a shot like me and my co-host Sunker Maiden did on Thursday nights? Or were you one of that seems like the majority of the Marvel audience out there that completely and totally avoided this hot dumpster fire because they knew from very far off exactly what they were going to get? Or are you actually really enjoying the show, unlike most of the fan base out there? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description and think about becoming a member of the channel and becoming part of the grease between our gears that keeps this machine running. All right, from CosmicBook.News and our dear sweet Matt McGloin. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we got our first indication of whether Ironheart is a success, and it appears to be another bomb from Kevin Feige. As it's learned, the show is absent from Luminates viewership charts for the week of the first 3 episodes were released. And we said this early on, right? It's the same kind of trick that Disney, Marvel, Hollywood, and a lot of other Hollywood groups do, right? They try to, it's the same thing Amazon does, like with Rings of Power and Wheel of Time. They try to inflate their numbers, right? That's why they release more than 1 episode at a time. I mean, think about this. Before streaming, had you ever heard of any show out there doing anything more than like maybe a 2-part premiere episode? And even then, it's not like they drop them both in the same night. It would just be one story to kick off the entire season, and they split it into 2 parts. This whole thing of them dropping 1, 2, 3 episodes at a time, it's literally to do nothing but fluff up their numbers. And guess what? It's not working. Even dumping 3 episodes at once was not enough to chart on what is arguably one of the most favorable rating systems out there. And notice the Disney-owned rating system out there as well is awful mum about all of these numbers. Luminate film and TV streaming viewership is owned by Eldridge Industries and Penske Media Corporation. Together, they're behind major media brands like Billboard, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, Rolling Stone, and Dick Clark Productions. Needless to say, boys and girls, this is what I mean. These are literally industry shill access media folks. It's absolutely insane. Eldridge also owns stakes in the Los Angeles Dodgers, A24, a movie studio, Vivid Seats, with broader investments spanning media, finance, tech, and real estate. So these guys literally have their fingers in everything. It's absolutely nuts, boys and girls, and it's not going away. So what are the ratings? Well, obviously it didn't chart, so we can have some idea of the numbers based on what the lowest ranking thing on that, what was number 10, and that was Mobland. And isn't that a show whose season premiere or season finale is already over? Luminate released its numbers for the week the first 3 episodes of Ironheart were available, June 20th to 26th. The episode dropped on June 24th. So to be kind of fair, I guess, to go, I don't know, in their defense, like my mother-in-law loves to say all the time, in their defense, they did only technically get like 2 days worth of ratings on this chart. But as we've seen it in the past, time and time again, no matter what the shills about like the Doctor Who numbers like to argue all the time, it's one of them situations where there's no doubt that if you're the majority of your audience that is actually interested in a show and that is excited for it, right? The people that are going to spread the word, the people that are going to be the apostles and spread the gospel of how good your show is, are going to be their opening night, right? As soon as that thing comes out, guess what? They did not show up. Now, obviously, Neilson is the standard, and that'll give us a better idea of what the real numbers are because they go for the full week, right, from Monday through Sunday. But at the end of the day, those don't come out for almost another month. So we're going to have to wait on those anyway. These are still, this is like I said, why didn't they show up on premiere night? That's absolutely nuts. Well, we can get an idea about that because the Rotten Tomatoes score is at a 56%. And Ironheart star Anthony Ramos, a.k.a. The Hood, inside of the show, which straight up just villain who literally made a pact with the devil of the Marvel cinematic, of the Marvel universe, says he basically, we don't need to go over the whole article or do a whole video over this. He basically just said, well, at least they're talking about it. Well, guess what? They might be talking about it, buddy, but nobody's watching. At the bottom of the rankings is Mobland with an estimated 260.8 million minutes watched. By the way, that was only 1 episode. Mobland only drops 1 episode at a time, which means all 3 episodes of Ironheart came in below that number. That also puts the average per episode at under 86.9 million minutes watched. That is abysmal. If Mobland's 1 episode came in at 260, almost 261 million, how abysmally bad is it that 3 episodes of Ironheart could not even come close to matching that? Not even 87 million minutes watched? That is insane. We'll know more about the Ironheart ratings in a month when the Neilson ratings are released. Disney automatically has Neilson turned on in your Disney Plus account. So I myself will be included with that one when it comes out. I would also have been included on the Illuminate numbers because I watched it on that last day where they were taking count numbers as well. So my numbers are included in this, and plus even all the rest of the reviewers. Think about this too. It's like one of those things people like, I remember years ago, nobody really makes this argument anymore because time is history has proved, the future has proved it to be completely and totally a false premise. But people used to say all the time, why do you watch this? Why do you talk about it? Why do you review it? That's just going to get more people to watch it. You're just propping them up. Rada. Oh, really? Oh, really? We're just propping them up by watching this. Tell that to the Illuminate numbers over there on Ironheart. Hell, tell that to Daredevil, a show for the most part I actually liked, right? But even that didn't chart. And that was literally the MCU's best chance at recovering their Disney Plus streaming service television shows. And they could not pull that off. And that's bringing everybody back, practically. And we know we're going to get Foggy back next season. So like literally, and that still didn't work. You know what else didn't work? It's one of them situations where, and like we've talked about this before as well, they knew this was going to flop. That's why they dropped 3 episodes at once. And even with those 3 episodes, they still failed to chart. It's just like Echo dropping it all at once. Echo charted but that's because they dropped all 6 episodes all at once. But hey, guess what else didn't work? Worth a mention is that Robert Downey Jr. shilled for the show, which did nothing to bolster viewership. Marvel better be careful, as they need to justify dishing out $100 million to RDJ for Avengers Doomsday. And that one right there is really going to be the test of time as to whether or not these people can actually recover. Because if Robert Downey Jr., the Russo brothers, and all the rest of those guys coming back can't give you at least a profitable movie, the MCU is done and burnout is permanent. Ironheart is currently the second worst rated MCU series on Disney Plus by the fans, with a 56% audience score. Secret Invasion is currently the lowest at 53%. That's just insane. I mean, Secret Invasion is the only one worse than this, and we also know that Rotten Tomatoes pulled a fast one and deleted a bunch of reviews, which is the only thing, which of course they were only going to delete the negative 1-star reviews or the one whatever rating it is reviews over there, right? So we know this number is actually probably way lower. Why do we know that's the case? Because the IMDb number is 3.7, much closer to the 36% than Ironheart was on Rotten Tomatoes before they deleted all of the negative reviews. Because it was just a bunch of mean-ist guys out there review bombing it. But for some reason, all those same ists didn't show up to review bomb all of the Creed movies. I know, weird concept. Ironheart is another misfire from Kevin Feige as part of his approach to the post-Endgame MCU, which has been a complete failure. Recent bombs on the big screen include Captain America, Brave New World, and Thunderbolts. On the TV side of things, Daredevil Born Again also failed the chart on Neilson, the first time ever for an MCU show. And if Daredevil Born Again didn't do it, guess what? Neither is Ironheart. Likewise, Daredevil Born Again is getting a season 2. We've talked about all of that. We know they're cost cutting back on a lot of other things, though. And the other thing about this is the biggest problem with this flop, too, as well, is it's one of them situations where the real problem is the budget. We know they did a lot of reshoots. They did a lot of re-editing on this. So we're talking at minimum, this series probably cost them $300 million. Knowing Disney, Marvel, it probably cost more in the range of like $350 to $400 million. So you're talking a half of, potentially, basically, with marketing and everything else, which there has been a lot of marketing about this movie. We're literally talking about a potential $500 million disastrous dumpster fire that failed to premiere while literally releasing 3 episodes at once. This failed in the comics. Marvel fans don't want this. Whether you like the show or not doesn't matter. Ironheart is a disastrous dumpster fire. It is one of the lowest audience, and I would argue the lowest audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and on IMDb ever for any Marvel show. Ironheart didn't work in the comics. It's not going to work in live action. It was a bad premise to start with. It was from a very negative place from the Marvel Now initiative, which is nothing more than an agenda-driven storytelling specifically to force characters to change inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A race-swapped, sex-swapped Iron Man will never replace Tony Stark. Didn't work in the comics, and it's clearly not working now. It didn't resonate with your hardcore fan audience, and it's not resonating with the general Marvel audience either. Ironheart is nothing more than a disastrous dumpster fire that has cost the Marvel company hundreds of millions of dollars, if not $500 million. And guess what, Kevin Feige? It's exactly what you deserve. You decided to dance with the politically correct devil, and now you have gotten burned. And guess what? Mephisto ain't gonna save this show. And after all, you did it to yourself.